Hey, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'll be your host today, along with a guest that I'm going to bring on. And just like we have hundreds of other episodes that we've recorded of this show, it is a successful student who's selling on Amazon using the creative strategies that we teach around here. Man, this guy's got some cool stuff going on. He's a young man who just recently got his college degree. It's going to crack you up the way he finished getting his degree. I'll just give you a little hint. There was virtual assistants involved, VAs. But he's built a beautiful business with him and his buddies. They're $3-4 million in annual sales. And here's what makes this story special. There's all kinds of strategies that we teach in this community. But I love when people kind of combine and twist and merge together concepts into things that open up new ideas entirely. And that's what today's story does. Because they only have around 40 to 60 different ASINs that they're selling against, different listings that they're on Amazon, but they have a $3 or $4 million online arbitrage business. That is a very unusual model. Most people who are selling at that level would have several hundred, if not, 1,500 or more ASINs that they're tracking. No, these guys have gone all in with a handful of ASINs. And they're sourcing them through online arbitrage. They're placing really big orders for multiple units, getting the maximum discounts they can. They're using a lot of sales coupons. They're stacking their points, I'm sure, on their credit cards, that sort of thing. They really max out just a handful of products that they know they can get over and over again and do really well with. What an unusual model, but it's working. Great margins, great results, great team. They've also got a nice prep center as well that we're going to add to our prep center network.com list of prep centers. Very robust operation. As big as their business is, it's only about 15% of their warehouse space because they've got 3 locations and they're doing prep for a lot of other sellers as well. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? So a young man that's built a beautiful business, he's only been doing it at this level for a couple of years. So he's still kind of learning as he goes, but it shows you what's possible. For people who are saying, I just need a couple extra $1,000 a month and that would make a huge difference. You can do a small version of what this guy is doing and get that. For people who want to build something bigger, you can scale, you can get that. The point is, there's opportunity everywhere. Amazon is expanding the different ways that you can merge together the ideas that you learn in our community and on our podcast. It's such an expansive time. It's such a beautiful time to be involved in e-commerce. And I'm inspired and encouraged after hanging out with Stephen today. I think you will be as well. Something that stood out to me is he's not afraid to hear the word no. He's not afraid to get an order canceled. And you know what he does? And this really jumped out at me, and I've never even considered it before. But when he places a large online order, let's say you've placed an order for 50 units or 100 units on a website, and they cancel the order and they say, sorry, we don't cater to resellers. He doesn't take that as a loss. He takes that as an invitation to go a little harder and press and call the company and say, hey, you just canceled my order. What's going on? I need that order to go through. We need this product. And by picking up the phone, he gets good answers on the other end quite frequently, as you'll hear on the show today. Again, you don't get to the point where you're running $3 or $4 million business at a great profit margin, reselling on Amazon, unless you've got a little bit of tenacity, which he definitely has. So you're going to enjoy this, be encouraged and inspired by it. And as you are, just keep in the back of your head, hey, if you're ready to go further, faster, if you're ready to have someone handhold you and take you through the process of launching a beautiful business on the greatest business opportunity platform in the history of man, in my opinion, I think I can bring the facts, data, and the receipts to back that up. There's nothing else like this out there that I've ever seen where you can start small and grow it to pretty much whatever you want it to be. Hey, give us a call. Go to silentjimdotcom/book a call. That will give you a link where you can have a conversation with someone on our team. We'd love to talk through what we have to offer, our free resources, some of our low-cost resources, and maybe you want a one-on-one hand-holding coach or mentor to help you out. We'd love to talk to you about that as well. But let's enjoy this episode together. We're going to meet Stephen here in just a second. And I think you're really going to enjoy this. And keep in mind, we have hundreds of episodes like this. You can scroll back, be inspired, encouraged, hear the way other people are doing the stuff that we teach around here. Enjoy this episode. Well, Stephen, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Great to have you here. We ran into each other briefly in Seattle at Amazon's event, and Nate, who was with me, and a couple of the guys from our team were like, "Oh, you got to get this guy on the podcast." And I agree. After hearing a bit of your story, you're making some stuff happen, man. So let's get into it and hear your story, dude.
Yeah, so we'll go back a little further. I've been reselling for over 10 years. Started right around when I was like 13. Started flipping used stuff, then on eBay, then like went to Raw Stress for less, doing RA, but for eBay. Got out of it for a bit and then got back into like reselling stuff on eBay, went to thrift stores. And then I was moving to Florida. I had 2 bedrooms full of used stuff at my house. And I was moving to Florida with somebody I was with at the time, and I couldn't move any of my inventory. So I was like, crap, I have to figure out how I can still resell, not get an actual job. And then I stumbled across Amazon FBA. And then I started selling used books and then went to retail arbitrage for a few months and then really scaled OA. And that's where we've been for a while.
Okay, so how long ago? This was started 10 years ago. So how long would it been since you've been like all in on RA on Amazon?
Since Amazon's been about 2.5 years.
Okay, so fairly recent. So
Yeah.
2.5 years is, and it seems to me, if remembering some of your story, that's where the bulk of your success has been is the past couple, 2, 3 years, correct?
Yeah. Even last year,
Things are really
this
taking off.
time, I think we've doubled last year's numbers already this year.
Are you comfortable sharing your numbers or giving us a ballpark?
Yeah, absolutely. We are at just under 3 million on the year to date. And then I think it's 4 million the last rolling 12 months, but I could be wrong on that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So 12 months, somewhere between 3 and 4 million, closer to four, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Beautiful.
then August, we did 700, a little over 700,000,
The
mainly
last
OA.
full month. Yeah. Well, here we're in October now, but yeah. So 700K in a month. That's a good month here.
Yeah.
Beautiful, dude. You're killing it. Awesome. So how are you finding all this stuff? What's your team look like? Break it down.
My team's pretty basic. It's like I have an admin who just deals with all the back end.
Mm-hmm.
I hate doing it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things I got rid of. And then I have like he's pretty much like my right hand man. He's like sources. If I need something done, he figures it out. I still do a good amount of sourcing, but he does a lot of it. So, and then with the product, like I'm guessing you're familiar with like a loop, like just figure out like the mess up on a website and just keep hammering it. So that's a lot of my success has been is figuring out like the little nooks and crannies of websites, to finding coupons and different things. And that really allowed me to scale.
So you're still primarily retail sourcing, it sounds like.
On OA though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Online
Yeah.
arbitrage, hitting websites, maximizing out any kind of discounts or coupons or promotions, and just kind of going for the buy it at the lowest possible price, finding good ASINs. Are you using Keepa, I assume, to make your decisions?
Yeah. I use Keepa. I literally just use Keepa's seller amp. I'm pretty basic. Just run the coupon codes. And then like everything is obviously depending on the product and stuff is a sales cycle too. So like if we hit it on a good sale, we'll, you know, mark it on my calendar, come back to it, a year later. And a lot of times those sales happen at the same times.
Yep.
So then it's just re-hitting the sale again. And when you have a little more capital the next year, you hit a little harder and you hit a little harder. And there's sales that we're always waiting for to come through.
We call those sale plans. Instead of like replans, you can go buy anytime. We call them sale plans. We replenish them when they're on sale, right?
I like that.
Yeah. Beautiful. So you're using Keep as your primary decision-making tool. How many ASINs would you say is in your catalog right now?
I think 300, but most of it, it's like the 80-20 rule. Most of the stuff's made off like small amount of the ASINs. We just have the ones, the VA sends or something. It's like, all right, we'll buy 10 units, 10, 20 units, but majority.
So interesting. Usually when someone says they've got a $3 to $4 million arbitrage model, we're looking at 1,000 to 1,500 ASINs, and you're looking at 300. So you're going pretty deep on some of these, which leads me to my next question. If you're relying on coupons, discounts, that sort of thing, how do you max that out, man? Like, is there some secret sauce there that you've got going on to how do you buy 400 units of something on sale? off a website.
It's figuring out what lets you. Like, here's a great example of like, I guess you guys are probably familiar with like Hibbit of a website. Like they are known for ordering cancel-outs. Like I'm not like that's not where I'm going to look because
Right. They
if I
cancel
can't get
orders.
volume, I'm like I don't even look that direction because I'm not going to waste my time there. Maybe I'll get 100 units at some point, and then like I'm banned. Like there's no reason I can't build on top of that. Versus something like occasionally like Walmart, I could buy thousands of units. They don't care.
Right.
Or
Right. Have you found a way to get stuff on sale on Walmart?
never deeper. Like once in a while there's coupons, but it's not one of my main heavy hitters.
Gotcha.
Like,
And I'm not asking to give away your heavy hitter. I'm not
yeah,
going to put you in that corner, dude. Don't worry.
no worries, no worries.
But I'm just trying to get a feel because that's going to be one of the common questions is, well, I'm trying to shop online. I try to order more than 10 units of anything. And they're like, oh, sorry, you must be a reseller. Like, that is part of the challenge is to play the game the way you're doing it.
But sometimes like I'll have virtual assistants. They have to pick up the phone and call. Like if we get cancels, like they're trained to know like, okay, we get cancels. You have to call.
That's good.
Like you have to, okay, we're doing it for a charity. Like we're doing it for like
oh no.
You can't tell me to resell. Like, you have to you got to play the part a little bit with
I'm doing it to support a minority owned business. Hey, guess what, buddy? You're a part owner of my business now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
make
I
the
got
story
you.
so it works for them. Like,
yeah. So
half the time,
as much as I would, just from a business philosophy vantage point, I always encourage play it, shoot straight, play it honest. Don't, because ultimately in the end, this is just my philosophy. It's always going to come back better for you. But picking up the phone, man, that's brilliant. Because a lot of people's like, oh, they canceled my order. That means they've cut off all time. No, pick up the phone. Hey, why'd you just cancel our order? What's going on? We want to give you some money. Like, what do we got to do to order the stuff we need? We're trying to run a business here, right? Like, have that conversation. So you've had that success with that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Just picking up the phone, calling, shooting them an email, like whatever it takes and fight it.
That's good.
Like if it comes to a retail side, it's 100% telling them what you're doing, like talking to employees. We can go to that direction a little bit, but like if you get a cancel, figuring it out, and then it's obviously okay. If you get one order through, it's possible to get more orders through. Like that's usually a well-told side to me is like, okay, they shipped one order of 10. There's a way to get more. It's just like, okay, is it worth my time? And then like, how much volume can I really get through it? Because sometimes you have to wait until it ships to order another one. Versus some places you order 10 or 20 units, that account's done. Your address is burned or your IP's burned. So it really comes down to like where you can get the volume for OA and then trying to double down there.
You're looking for places where you can find stuff on sale that's going to sell at a reasonable pace on Amazon that you can actually order in the quantities that you need. Because just your business on paper, just by the numbers, is a pretty unusual one from my vantage point, having looked at a lot of reseller businesses. Again, the small number of ASINs that you have for the size of the business you have, and again, the 80-20 principle coming into play, you've got 40 or 50 ASINs that are carrying the load.
Yep. So, and I would say the rest were probably under 20 to 30 units. And it's just kind of like I bought at one point, it's kind of selling through and it's selling on those ones.
Yeah. So you go deep and go hard on the ones that you can order in high quantity. So it's a big deal. Like how many units would be in an average order in one of those top ASINs for you?
On one of my top ASINs for Q4, I'm hoping to have over 10,000 units on one ASIN.
And you're doing it OA, not as a wholesale order.
Yep.
Man, there's some magic in what you're sharing today. I think what this story is doing is going to break through some of the false limiters that people have put on their business, myself included. Like, oh yeah, well, they canceled us. We can't place that order size. Okay, well, I guess we have to go shop somewhere else. No, pick up the phone, push back, make the case, get in
price
there.
Match it. Price match it to another. I mean, we used to do this a lot more often back in the day, but we would price match different companies, stuff.
Well, your competitor will sell it to me for this, man. It's like,
I mean, a lot of places like Dick's Sporting Goods, you can go in store and you can price match. Like, so you can price match other websites if they have it cheaper.
Yeah.
Depending on how, okay, I mean, back in the day, I used to bring carts up there to the front. 50-50 shot if they'd give it to me. If I hit it right, they let me through. There was a ton of money made there.
Yeah. So you're not afraid to walk to the front of a store with 8 carts of maybe 2 or 3 different items full and say, hey, checking out. And if they don't say anything, you check out. If they do, you're like, all right, man, I'm just trying to give you business,
price matching, like price matching with another retailer to get the lower
like,
price.
hey, this store over here, right? So there's a boldness in your story that I find myself trying to convince and drag people into sometimes. Like, man, you can't be afraid of the word no in business. You just can't, because that's going to set up so many barriers that don't need to be there. You sound like a guy that's not afraid of the word no. It's like, all right, I'll just ask again a different way.
My mom taught me it doesn't hurt to ask. So like if you're checking out doing an RA or something, ask if there's this additional discount. Ask how to do it.
What can you do for me here? Yeah.
They have something that you don't know.
Yep. That's beautiful.
If you get a manager, it's a smaller store. Like I used to go to grocery outlets, do a lot of retail arbitrage there. It's very similar to an Ollie's.
Yes.
Are you familiar with grocery outlet?
No, I'm familiar with Ollie's though.
All right. It's a better version of Ollie's, but it's all locally owned and operated. They're on the East Coast and they're in like California. Like there's nothing really in the middle of the country for them, but they're all individually owned and operated. So like I'd be called if certain inventory came in. I would sometimes, if I ordered a pallet, I would be able to get cheaper pricing. They knocked 20 cents off a unit. It was ran like wholesale. But like you just had to talk and make the connections with the owners, the employees, and have those conversations so they know who you are and they want to help you out because you're helping them out too by getting rid of inventory.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I love that. I learned on this show. I mean, I've done almost 1,000 episodes of this podcast. It's a rare episode that I don't learn something. And I'm learning something today. What you've done and with this conversation has expanded my definitions of what it means to source retail. Because the line where you cross over into needing to go to wholesale used to be like, if you're ordering more than 10 or 20 at a time, it's time to start figuring out wholesale. You're not calling wholesalers, you're going retail, websites and physical location stores in bulk at quantity. And I'm imagining you're hitting multiple stores. You cover like a 6-state area or something. What do you got going on?
Yeah. And so if I'm going at something hard, I need to have a competitive advantage. Like this is like almost across the board, unless it's like Q4 in like the heart of it. And it's like, doesn't matter the price you're paying sometimes, it's just like you just need it in hand and you're good to go. But like if I'm buying extremely heavy on something, I need to know I'm pretty much at the lowest price. And I need to make sure like I'm taking up a lot of inventory for the area.
Right.
That's a big thing I do is, especially on the OA side, like I try to take all the stock or have my friends take the rest of the stock if it's possible.
So you're trying to have an impact on the society at large, supply and demand curve at the quantities you're playing at, man. I love it.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if I don't play that game, I deal with a lot more tanking.
Yeah.
So there's some places I'm waking up at the middle of the night. Like I know when this cycle stuff, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll stock an ace and out and go back to bed. Because I just know, all right, it's going to go on sale this time. I'm going to take a couple thousand units and then I'm going back to bed.
Wow. Yeah, you're playing a different game than what we typically teach, especially our newer sellers to play. And I'm not necessarily encouraging people to
absolutely
ease into this. We teach a lot more of a, minimize your risk, mitigate your risk. One of the sayings around here is inch deep, mile wide, meaning don't go more than 10, 20 units deep on anything. Spread your risk out because now you've eliminated the possibility of having 1,500 units of something and someone just came in at, fraction of the price. And you're like, oh man, what am I going to do with this stuff? Like you eliminate that from the equation. But if you're as aggressive as you are about getting the best possible price, negotiating down, like no one's going to be able to beat me. And it's something else I love about your story, Stephen, is you're saying, I don't need to go wholesale. With the right negotiation, the right quantity, hitting the right sales, I don't need to go wholesale. I don't need to get anyone's permission, find wholesalers, like you found your magic ASINs, you're going as aggressive as you can. There's just so many cool ways to do this business. That's the observation I'm making. And this is a new one that I got to say, I haven't been exposed to. I found myself curious, what percentage is of your inventory is going into a shopping cart and going out of a retail store versus being bought online? Break it down for me
So
like on a pie
I
chart.
did a lot. So swinging into Q4, I will do a lot more RA.
Yep.
I have runners going like hitting different stores and stuff, but that operation's pretty much just strictly for when November and December hits,
Interesting.
because
Makes sense.
that will be something that we'll hammer it because we can get it same day.
And do you merchant fulfill then?
Yeah, especially with the FC situation right now, it's just
Yeah.
so backed up.
Yep.
Like we're trying to get our Q4 stuff in before November 1st.
Gotcha. So you're merchant fulfilling. So I want to put a couple pie charts in people's heads. One of them is what percent during the regular, not during the Q4 crazy rush 6 weeks, but or 8 weeks, but during the rest of the year, what percentage of your stuff is retail versus ordering it online?
Oh, it's 99% ordering online.
Okay, so you got an OA business
Yeah.
primarily. That's primarily what you're rocking.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. And then what percentage is merchant fulfill during the normal part of the year?
Less than 5%, probably.
Very little. Okay.
Yeah.
So you just kind of go into, snatch and grab. And a lot of people do this. Those magic 6 to 8 weeks of Q4, you can't do no, you can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody get your family, clear store shelves. And the one
Yeah.
thing you can't do is send stuff in and expect it to sell in time for Christmas. FBA window has closed, but the merchant fulfill window is wide open. Yeah. So it makes sense now that's when you go to the retail stores, do some merchant fulfill. Like that's the bonus gravy for the year, right? But your day-to-day standard operation is shop online, FBA.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'll FBM, like I FBM some bigger things. Actually, I lied on that. I do FBM a bit more, probably 20%, because I can't really go into a ton of detail, but I can explain the model around it. Is
Sure.
I get discounted UPS and FedEx labels like heavily, fully across the book, embedded into my Amazon account through stuff. So like if I'm sending out a box, I don't know, a pretty big box, it might only cost me $11. So if I can leverage sometimes that merchant fulfilling because I can get it at such a lower price, and then if it gets returned, I can also charge a restocking fee. Can sometimes be nice on those merchant fulfill products if they mess it up or damage it.
Got you. So you've got a bit of an insider advantage that's not available to the public when it comes to merchant fulfilling large items. Sounds
Yeah, large, smaller items are regular.
Sure.
Normal.
Makes sense. It's like, everyone's got their little unique advantages who kind of things. And, so you've tapped into one of those. Could be gone at some point, or it could be a permanent thing. Who knows? But right. I got you, man. It's nothing you can put in a course and teach to the public. So
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's not even my thing I can share. One of my friends gave it to me, and we try to also utilize. Are you familiar with Amazon Freight? I know you saw them at the conference, but yeah, we try to utilize that as much as we can.
Yeah, so where they come and pick it up.
Yeah, because it's just so much cheaper. Like for us to send an entire 18-wheeler, it'll run us about $400 instead of send a small parcel, an arm and a leg.
It'd kill you. Yeah. So it's working fairly well for you. That's good to hear. I've heard mixed reviews, but it sounds like you're in an area where they've got it kind of dialed in.
Yeah.
They come pick your stuff up and you just schedule right with Amazon. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I think they're going to be cleaning that up more and more as time goes by. Yeah.
I mean, this cost of sending pallets, I mean, this is a little more advanced. Can be like sometimes up to like $200-300 per pallet sending in FBA. I've seen versus if I get pay maximum split, minimal splits, it will cost me for literally cost 2 pallets with the same price as sending an entire truck.
Wow. Yeah, huge savings.
And you can put as much as you want on that truck too.
Yeah. Once the truck's there, loaded up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic, man. All right. Well, you're painting a pretty cool picture. You mentioned you had a warehouse. Do you have just one?
So I have 3 warehouses.
3.
So me and my business partner own a prep center called Big Cat Distributions.
Are you in our list? I'll stick you in there.
I don't think so. We chatted about it
I'll make sure you get added after this. So we've got our prepcenternetwork.com list that's used by quite a few sellers. So
Yeah.
mentioning it here, Big Cat Distributors
Distribution. Yep.
distribution. And yeah, we'll stick you in the directory so people can go to prepcenternetwork.com and get all of them. So I love it. So I want to hear more about that in a minute. But so you've got 3 warehouses. One of them is your prep center.
Yeah. So they're all 3 prep locations,
Okay.
but we need a tax-free one in Delaware. And I, like my business partner was like, "Yeah, if you want to come in," I was like, "I got nothing better to do, so sure, I'll hop in and relocated, moved to Delaware. Had a prep set, I had a warehouse location before I had a house. That's all we needed. We needed the warehouse.
Did you live in the warehouse?
No, I got a hotel.
You're the kind of guy that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I set up a cot, man. I mean, I'm going to be working tomorrow anyway. Might as well just stay here. That's the kind of vibe I get from you.
Christmas time, my guys will find me waking up in the warehouse probably.
Yep. Yep. I love it. You're getting after it. So, you've got 3 house spread out, are they? Where's the other 2 at?
They're both, the other 2 are in Easton, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Not a tax-free state, but still.
Not tax free for like, it's tax free for shoes, clothing, vitamins.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But sales tax on some stuff. I got you.
Yeah. So like you have backpacks, you have
Yeah.
everything else you're paying sales tax on.
Yeah. And let me just do a brief education if someone's like, why does it matter if it's a sales tax state? Let me just, for the listener's sake, I know you know all of this. You know more about it than I do, probably for sure. But if you shop online, depending on where your product's being delivered, determines if you're going to pay sales tax or not. So if you're delivering it to a sales tax-free state, you don't have to worry about tracking the sales taxes and trying to get reimbursed at the end of the year from your accountant. And some states will do it. In some states, you got to fill out forms. And no, just sales tax-free. So you have it delivered instead of to your own front porch to, say, a prep center in Delaware, right? And then you didn't pay any sales tax. Had you been paying sales tax, 5-7%, whatever it is, and that probably covers the price of getting it prepped. So now you've like freed up cash, you've freed up your time, freed up space in your house. You're using a prep center in a tax-free state. We got a bunch of them in our network, but that's basically the premise behind, yeah, prep center tax-free state, worth considering. You can always get those deductions back if you got a good accountant. I feel like, the vast majority of the time you can anyway, but it's a lot easier just to not pay the tax to begin with. So there you go. That's my 30 seconds on that topic. But all right, so you've got 3 warehouses. How much of this is prep? If you put it on the pie chart, how much of your inventory is prep for third parties, if you don't mind sharing? I mean, tell me.
Like in the warehouse sphere,
Yeah, like your product versus prep for other clients.
I would say I'm probably 15% of what comes through the warehouses.
Is prep?
Is mine. The rest is clients.
So that's an impressive prep operation. You guys have a big prep operation going.
Yeah, my business partner, we have over 30,000 square feet.
Wow, between the 3.
Yeah, between the 3. My business partner, he's a master of operations. So
yeah, sounds like it. Wow. We need to talk more about that because there is an opportunity here in the space. Just again, I talk to a lot of sellers and I see kind of their businesses and hear it described. There's an opportunity in this space to help out the smaller prep centers, and they'd be gladly pay to be part of a network, right? Of people that are doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Have the systems dialed in. Let me turn my 3,000 square foot of space that I'm not using into a prep center for 15 clients.
Yeah.
Using your software or your guidance, and I'm not necessarily proposing a business right now, but that's here for us, right? And we've been talking about tapping into that for a while. And some people have the abundance mindset and go, yeah, I'll train people what I know. And other people are like, I'm never letting anyone in on my trade secrets. I'm like, okay, I understand both arguments, but we're looking for someone that's like, yeah, we'll pull back the curtain and, for a price, show people how to run a prep center, man.
Yeah, I can put you in contact with my business partner. That's his whole area of expertise. They sent me out to do a lot of talking, going around chatting, and then he's the operations. He's the one that mastered that stuff.
So we could have a chat, see what systems they've got. And I know a lot of the big prep centers. I've talked with many of them. The first prep center, to my knowledge, came from our community of sellers at a mastermind.
Really?
But people, this has been 10 years ago.
Wow.
No longer than that, 12 years ago. Yeah. And it was a mastermind. We're just sitting there saying, hey, we have a lot of students who live outside the United States who would like to be able to do this, but like they got to find a friend to ship the stuff to. It's like, well, what if one of us just had like a place, all right, would that work? Would Amazon still take it? It doesn't have to come from our house. So like we literally thought through the model. He's like, I'm going to do it. Let's just tell people I'm doing it. We couldn't find anyone else doing it. So the first
That's
prep center,
awesome.
yeah, they ended up blowing up, and next thing you know, there's hundreds of them because it just makes sense. People don't want stuff on their front porch, right?
Yeah, and like our specialty of prep is in the aspect of we deal with hiring clients and sellers because like they know what they're buying. They don't run into all the same issues as newer ones. We try to always work at scale in every business I do and working. It's just always about, how high you can push it.
Yes, I know. I completely get it. If you're working with newbies as a prep center, they're wanting free coaching constantly. Like,
Yep.
I can't do that for a living. Sorry. They've got good companies out there that do coaching. Send them to us. Like that's what we do. Like, that's right. So everyone has their niche. But yeah, no, I totally understand that. Well, what else would there's something that jumped out as my story. I think it's one of the funniest parts about you that from my initial conversations. I bet you've got 1,000 stories, but why don't you tell everyone, if you're comfortable with it, about how you got your college degree and what went into you finishing up your schooling while you were building this, multiple 7-figure business with your buddies. How'd you do that?
So we'll go back a little further in this. So my mom wants me to go to college, whatever. So I'm like, Mom, all right, I'll go to college.
Mom, I'm a good son. Okay.
And then dating the girl at the time, she did a lot of my college, helped me out with it because it's just not my wheelhouse. Is school. And then
sitting in rows of chairs reading the book they told me to read. It was never my gig either, dude. But I plowed through. That's the only option I had, man. in the 90s.
I did it, saw the relationship kind of falling apart. Like, all right, I still I'm too far in college to quit. So I was like, well, you can hire VAs for college. Why not hire hire VAs for Amazon. Why not hire the VAs for college? So I hired a college VA. And yeah, so I did online college. She did 100% of like, not 100%, but a lot of the, after like my last year and a half of college, she pretty much did almost all of it.
Yeah. So like attending the classes virtually online.
Yeah.
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 So you've got a degree. And that just cracks me up, man. I love it. Let's not share the college you went to.
Yeah, no, I can't I gotta keep not that I'll ever use it. It's just
not that it really matters at this point, but I just thought, one of my favorite stories, I remember reading about a guy who had quickly risen as one of the premier programmers in like Fortune 500 companies, and people were bidding and wanting him to come work. And he was running this guy could do incredible work. Like he was a genius programmer. Come to find out, he had like 25 virtual assistants just making him look like a champ. And so the company fired him. And I'm thinking, no, hire that dude. What are you talking about? It's like getting all that work done for that, like that's the way the world works, man. You get it done better, faster, cheaper. So why not go after a degree that way if the system allows it? But I don't want to get you in any trouble, man. But I just thought that was a hilarious story. And yeah, it's an entrepreneur's brain. Let's go into problem solving mode with the least amount of resistance and least amount of expense and risk. Let's solve problems. That's how entrepreneurs think. And you just saw getting a degree as another problem you had to resolve, right? It's like,
yep. Junior year, I was like, I've been going through this way too long. Hired it out and called it a day.
That's great. And is your mom happy with you?
She was not happy about it at the start. Told her I got her for help. She's like, oh yeah, it's great. Like I'll help. And like I came home for a while and I was like prepping products all the time. And she was like, are you still in college? I'm like, yeah, Mom, I just don't do it anymore. I have a VA doing it. And I got an earful for that. But and I just got my brother to drop out of college too. No VA, but
okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm finding it harder and harder personally to justify, here's the way I talk about it. I say, if I'm looking to hire somebody or work with someone on a project or bring them into our business, and one of the first things they want to talk about is the college degree they got and the grades and the school they went to, like that pretty much disqualifies you.
Yeah.
I'd rather work with the person like, here's the projects I've been working on. Here's the businesses I tried to launch. This one failed. Like, here's what I learned from this one. I worked under this mentor. Like, I want to hear that. Those are the people that build businesses. Those are the people creating the opportunities for the future. Not, well, I went to this school. I got this degree. Like, oh, I have my MBA. I'm like, oh, man, you got a lot to unlearn. I'm actually working on a book of 100 things I had to unlearn from my traditional education in order to succeed as an entrepreneur and as a husband and as a father. I had
That's
to unlearn a bunch of stuff, man. So
yeah. I mean, like Amazon's like if you're gonna succeed in Amazon, like you need to find people also like-minded with you because your friends you went to high school with, no matter what age that you're still friends with, they're probably not going after anything more than just working their job,
yeah.
probably in credit card debt,
Yep.
probably one missed payment if they get laid off. Like they don't have money. Like nothing against them. They're great people, but that's most people in America. Like you have to retrain your brain on how to think if you want to be an entrepreneur, financially successful in those things. And like putting yourself around like-minded people is probably one of the most important things to break
There's
that.
loads of wisdom in what you just said. It's a biblical concept. It's loads of wisdom. And in fact, when I meet and talk to guys about your age, one of the things I say is, I can tell you your future, man, without knowing a whole lot about you. I can tell you your future. One of the questions is, tell me about the guys you hang out with.
Yep.
Tell me about who's your mentor? What's a mentor? I can tell you your future just based on that answer alone. You don't know what a mentor is. You don't have anyone mentoring you and helping you make good decisions. Has kind of been there, done that. You got to have a mentor. Who's your peer group? Who are you hanging out with? Right? What are they up to? Tell me about your friends. I don't need to hear about you. I just need to hear about your friends. And if I hear about the content you're consuming and the people you're hanging out with, I can paint a pretty good picture about what life's going to look like for you 5 to 10 years from now, man. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. Right?
Absolutely. And like a big thing is like, I'm not sure if you promote this in like you guys, but like the aspect of like posting on Instagram, it might sound like the craziest thing to a lot of people. But if you literally post on Instagram, Facebook, wherever it is that like as a reel, show your face in it.
Yeah. Share your journey. Show your face.
I found nothing today. Or I just had my first sale. And then everybody who's doing more than you, if you just send them a DM and sending like, hey, do you want to hop on a Zoom call and source together or talk about something together? That is how you scale so fast. Because then if you see that people are actually trying, like people actually want to help you and talk to you. Because I can tell you for a fact, almost all of my best friends are from Amazon now because they're so like-minded. We run with a pack. Like
you've actually, without even probably realizing it, although have you ever studied Hebrew business principles?
No.
Okay. You just identified 3 that are thousands of years old in the brief 2-minute that you just went through that will give you an unfair advantage in business and life in general. And so you've picked up some great, either through common sense or good mentorship, you picked up some really timeless stuff. One of them is using your face. You mentioned face specifically. In Hebrew tradition, the next step of leadership and achievement and success and endeavors will always involve you using your face and voice more than you were before. So be like, no, I want to be anonymous. I don't want to use my name. Like even the Hebrew culture set up around a name, like you've heard, Hebrew friends, they're Wasserman or Goldstein or, Silver. Like those names are associated with the occupation the person had. So your name becomes associated with who you are, what you do for a living. It's all one, and you're using your face and your voice, right? Your friend group, who you hang out with, you're talking about that. That's huge. The people you associate with. And the third one that I love is the greatest friends you will ever have in life don't come from, one of the big lies we were told in the 90s watching the Friends TV show, for example, was the best friends you'll ever have are the people that you escape from work with, and no one cares what they do for a living, but we just like hanging out. We're buddies because we like to laugh together, and, our businesses and those conversations never come up. That's not the way the world actually works. That's actually a lie. That's actually kind of a dead end. Life doesn't work that way. And now you can choose that friend group, but that's not going to take you to great places. You want to go to great places, make friends with the people you're achieving things together. That's business. The best friends you'll ever have are the people who you take risks with, you build with, you fail with, you go on an adventure in business together. That's some good relationships there, man. And again, just thousands of year old biblical wisdom, dude. But you're and those are concepts the Hebrews have pulled out in beautiful ways. But that's why I said, have you studied this stuff? There's actually a book that I'm going to suggest you read by my friend Rabbi Daniel Lapin. It's called Business Secrets from the Bible.
I'll have to read that.
Dude, you'll absolutely, and as you go through it, you're like, whoa, because you've identified 3 or 4, there's like 40 of them. You will devour that book, and my faith is I'm a Christian. He's an Orthodox Jewish rabbi, right? He's not a Christian, but I've learned so much he's pulled out of this. We love the same book, which is the Bible, but he's pulled so much timeless wisdom. So he's been a keynote speaker at our events and such. But when you started hitting those points, I'm like, I had to ask. I can nerd out about that stuff very fast. So hopefully the listeners enjoyed that little segment from me as well. But yeah, you're doing a great job. Your trajectory is phenomenal. You are a safe bet. I like to say, if you were a stock, I'd be buying it right now, man, because you're doing a lot of things right. Well, talk to me. Is there anything else we didn't bring up about your business that you want to share? Any other insights or encouragement or lessons? Maybe someone's like, I don't know if this is legitimate. They speak to some.
Just start. Like your friends from home, or no matter the age, you can say, I'm not talking about your friend, like my age, any age. You're going to try something new. They're going to tell you it's fake, it's false.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just need to start. Start with something. If you don't have enough money to start Amazon, start flipping stuff on eBay. There's never going to be the right time. You just have to start and then start building. Post your journey, no matter what you're doing. Post your journey on a social media platform. If you're new, send messages to new people. And my favorite phrase is, who people say, oh, I can't do that. Like, I'm too worried about sending messages and stuff. If you're at a bar, you see a girl you want to talk to, you go up to her. If she says, no, I don't want to talk to you, that's fine. You go to the next person. Same thing goes in business and try to network. You keep hopping around until somebody wants to sit on a Zoom call with you, talk to you, hang out with you. And who knows, they could become your best friends, like a lot of people I've met in this space.
Yep. And sorry to do this, but you've identifying so many great principles that the just start thing that you just said. One of the principles is, and modern psychology tells us this, if you're waiting until you feel like doing the things that you need to do, you may never feel like it. You may never get the motivation. Don't wait for the motivation.
Yeah,
Motivation's irrelevant, because what we've learned, modern psychology tells us the same thing the Bible's told us for thousands of years, which is, if you want to feel a certain way, act like you feel that way already. And so the feeling will trail the action. Start. I don't feel like starting, right? Start. And then the feeling comes behind, and you'll be very motivated once you have the momentum. Right? Isn't that good? Hey, you just identified it like it's in your core.
100%. And if you just follow the Bible, like, you're going to do great no matter what, but just go for something in your life, whatever it is, just go for it.
Yes.
And take it. And like, at the end of the day, like, there's no cap. There's people I know who run $25 million OA businesses. Like, the sky's the limit at it. I mean, obviously, a lot of employees, a lot of things that they do, but just like, don't think, oh, here's a great thing. I forgot to say this. Be good at very few things.
Yes.
Like, be special, like, be the best at a few things and don't worry about the rest.
Yep.
Like, one of my very like philosophies is like, for Amazon is like, a lot of times, like, virtual assistants, the newer people, they'll be like, oh, I want to learn this. I want to learn that. Like, I want to learn pet. I want to learn clothing. I want to learn beauty. Every week they want to learn something new. I say, be good at one or two, like one thing. Be good at one category and be able to absolutely destroy that category, that website, or whatever it is. And just be the best at that, because that will bring so much more profit versus being decent at everything.
Yep. You're 100% right. It's called the law of specialization. It is from an ancient Hebrew principle.
Yep.
The law of specialization. And another thing you mentioned, we call it around here the 3 a.m. list. Have you ever heard that before? It's a concept.
I have not.
The 3 a.m. list. You have a bigger one than most guys your age, I would imagine. It's simply a list of names of people that you could call at 3 a.m, and assuming their phone woke them up, they'd look at it, see your name, and go, yeah, I'm there. What do you need?
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm in. You need me to drive, you need me to send money, you need me to do something, you need a favor, whatever. I'm in. The only way to get a robust list of names, long list, it's the more names that, how much power and position and how important they are is a minimal relevance. It's more the list. How big is the list? Is it 5 people? Is it 50 people? You get to be my age, and arguably it's a few thousand people. Because I do a podcast and I spoke into their life. And even though we've never talked before, it's like, dude, Jim, what? Like, yeah, I'm in your hometown. I got a flat tire. I saw that you're in our community. Yeah, I'm there, man. How can I help? Right? You want that to be thousands over time. You're very intentionally building that list. And the way you do it is to truly care, speak into the lives of others, serve, put your face and your name out there, be interested in the success of others. That's how you grow that list. And that is the measure of your capacity and your potential to succeed in the future. So another way I could tell a 25-year-old his future is to say, show me your 3 a.m. list. What's that? Like, well, I got one buddy I have a video game with, on Saturdays, he'd probably show up for me. Like, if that's your list, dude, your future potential for success in business and achievement in life is limited.
Yeah.
You should be going for thousands of names as you get to be a guy my age, right? Like always, like daily adding to that list, which requires intentionality, connections, communication. It's all the stuff that you're doing naturally. So you've been mentored by someone impressive, is my theory right now. I don't know who it is. Maybe it was mom just speaking into your life. You got some good buddies. I don't know who that person is, but you've received some really good stuff, dude.
I appreciate. Thank you.
Kudos to whoever it is that poured that into you. Because again, you're a stock I'm buying, man. I love it.
Thank
What are the
you.
lessons you got for us, man? And I'm sorry I go into education mode, but hopefully that means something to you or to the listeners today too.
100%. Last thing, just if you have nothing, because I like to speak to people who are just starting and just learning. Because
those are my people too.
So you're starting, you've started posting content on it. It does not need to be good. If you look at mine, it's Stephen Does Business. I'm a one-shot wonder. If it's not great the first time, I don't care. I still post it. Yeah. But if you're new, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So if you find someone like they share a little something with you, share it with them back, like share stuff back and forth, like work together in a group and a team and just try to scale up. Because if you run as a pack and you share together, there's so much more there. Like I can tell you, like my main group of people, we pretty much share 95% of everything we do. Yep. Our Q4 planning is together of what we're attacking, what we're going for is built together. So then like we can pull forward different, it's not like, oh, somebody's doing 100,000. No, like if you guys all pull together, you have a group of 4 people, you guys have different skills and everything. Or even if you're doing 1,000, you guys share your ASINs. Well, now you guys at 1,000 each are now doing $4,000 because you're working together a month together. Like
energy, another rule of the universe. 1 + 1 = 4. Yeah.
100%. So just work with other people, talk to them, message them, reach out, and you will grow faster than you can believe by doing that.
Mm-hmm. And you're living proof of it, man. You got a bright future. To the degree that you're interested in being more involved in our community and kind of absorbing some of the stuff we got going around here, open door. Would love to have you involved to the degree that because at some point what you'll start feeling is that tug of that, and you already do it instinctually, but that tug of educating and seeing who really takes what I'm saying seriously, as evidenced by their willingness to maybe pay a few bucks, kind of stuff. Like, that's what we do here. Right. We give all kinds of great free content, but sometimes people go, okay, I'm going all in. I want to go further, faster with intentionality. I want to mentor. I want to coach. I want to do so to the degree that you start being interested in those kind of things, I'd love to make a case that, come stop by, give me a call. Yeah. Let's connect, because you'll get to that stage of life where you'll find as much, if not more, enjoyment in as your business is already in motion, bolted down and running. Like, let's help some other people do this too. Like, that's the next stage of growth, is teaching what you know, basically. And you're already doing it. So kudos, man. Well, it's been great hanging out with you, buddy, and getting to know you a little bit. I know you got 1,000 more stories you could tell. So I'd love to have you back again at some point, but we're kind of running out of time for me today. But thanks for hanging out with us today.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so let me talk to the listeners for just a moment who hung out with us today. If this is one of the first episodes you ever heard, I've got good news for you. There's plenty more where that came from. We've got hundreds of episodes where we've interviewed successful students from our community who built beautiful businesses using the internet creatively. Focus on Amazon, of course, but we talk about all kinds of stuff around here. So scroll back in time, check out some of those episodes. You'll see more great guests like Steven, although he's got some stories that are kind of hard to beat, but we got some great guests, great stories, interviews with students who have made some cool things happen. Scroll back and listen to some of those, and I think you'll become a fan of what we got going on around here pretty quick. So thanks for being a part of our show today, listener. And Stephen, again, buddy, you did awesome. Loved hanging out with you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll have another great episode for the listeners very soon. We'll talk to you then.